With all of your permissions, sir, we are starting with today's session now. Greetings and a very warm welcome to everyone. I'm Shwastika, your assigned moderator from Clirnet, and I'm so excited to have all of you with us today and joining us from across the country. A huge thanks to our wonderful doctors whose invaluable supports makes events like this possible. We are so grateful for your time and expertise, and we know your presence will make today's session even more special. So before we dive into the main content, let me share a little more about Clirnet. It's one of India's largest live digital CME platforms where doctors can create, share, and engage with some truly innovative medical content. It's a space designed for learning, connecting, and growing together as a community of medical professionals. And now it is my great privilege and honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Dr. Amitav Banerjee, sir. Dr. Amitav Banerjee is a distinguished medical academician and professor emeritus and a Department of Community Medicine at Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune, India. With vast experience in community medicine and public health, he has contributed significantly to medical education, preventive healthcare, and health promotion. Today, he will be sharing his valuable insights on a highly significant topic health promotion in sedentary occupations. So, without any much further ado, sir, I would like to hand over the session to you. Kindly proceed, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Swastika, and I come on the Clirnet platform and greetings to all the participants. So today I'll be talking of rising occupational hazard, I would call it, because as you are aware, most of the occupations are becoming sedentary. So the sedentary occupation is the biggest occupational hazard, unlike the earlier occupations when it was a physical overwork, it was a physical stress. Now sedentary lifestyle is very harmful to health, as you all know. It gives rise to obesity and associated comorbidities like impaired glucose tolerance, insulin resistance, hypertension, and stress. So I will be talking today about some simple measures which is customized for these type of sedentary occupations, I would say, sedentary occupations. And earlier we used to give that you have to exercise, say, 30 minutes every day or 1 hour every day. So they do that. Most of the people who are in sedentary occupation, they take gym membership or go for jogging. 1 hour they may jog in a day, but 8 hours to 12 hours they are sedentary. So that offsets the benefit of the. So there are certain recent studies which have brought out certain simple lifestyle changes while in sedentary occupations, which can be harmonized with their work schedule. And so I'll be sharing those four papers which are, I think, very practical and which can be advised to these people in sedentary occupations. So I'll be sharing some of the points. So this is of the topic today, health promotion and sedentary occupations. So this is the background here, rising obesity and sedentary occupations. And people may hit the gym or the jogging path for 1 hour, then spend hours sitting. Job stress may drive to, and then the stress also give rise to munching throughout the day, unhealthy eating habits, which compounds the problem, and ultra processed foods, sugary drinks. So how we can substitute that? There are two things, the lack of physical activity and the need for eating or drinking some soft drink or something. So how we can substitute that towards a more healthy snacking, one can say. All these insults to the metabolism can lead to disorders another important thing which is coming up is the non-alcoholic fatty liver. So that chronic insults, sedentariness, obesity, ultra-processed foods, high sugar intake, and as it is, we are genetically also compromised because of a gene. We tend to gain central obesity and metabolic syndrome. So we have to be extra careful. So what we will discuss today, we will review some 4 peer-reviewed papers, basically interrupted breaks for 2 minutes, physical activity, they have found very encouraging results. Just 2 minutes of physical activity after 20 minutes of sedentary work, one can program the breaks. Every 20 minutes, they can put some Alexa or something. They are software people. They are the ones who mostly work on this sedentary. So some reminders can be set. Every 20 minutes, there can be a 2 minutes break. And they have done studies and seen the impact on insulin resistance, glucose tolerance, blood glucose levels, and particularly after a heavy carbohydrate meal. Most of our meals are rich in carbohydrates. That's another handicap we have. Then eating apples has been found to protect against liver disease. We'll review that paper. All fruits are definitely good, but instead of these ultra processed foods, if they can have apples in their drawer and they munch on apples, so that has been found to be protective against not only non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but against liver cancer also. Then other physical activity can be done while at the desk are the soleus push-ups, raising the heels and contracting the calf muscles and then releasing it. So this increases the peripheral circulation, this increases the glucose, improves the glucose tolerance. And then another alternate with physical activity, well, first was apples, then the coffee has been found to be protective for the liver and particularly non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And this harmonizes very well with these people who work on the software for long hours. They like to take coffee, so particularly black coffee without milk or sugar. That gives the maximum benefit. And they, if they have to snack, they can substitute the ultra processed food with apples. And if as practitioners we can communicate to these occupational groups, they can very well understand the benefit and they can adopt these lifestyles which will complement their 1 hour of jogging or half an hour of physical exercise, but throughout the work day. So this is the first paper which is regarding these 2 minutes break after every 20 minutes. So they did this study. This is in the public domain, open access. So one can see the paper in detail. I will just give the salient points, glossing over what much of the technical details, how to communicate with your patients or with your people in such sedentary occupations. The title is Sex and Adipose Depot-specific glucose metabolism following carbohydrate-enriched diets consumption with un and interrupted and uninterrupted. They had two groups. It was a small sample, but the results were very encouraging. 20 samples they did. One arm had just the normal diet, carbohydrate-rich diet, and they carried out their normal work routine. The other group was asked to interrupt their work every 20 minutes with a 2 minute exercise schedule. Any exercise, just brisk walking or climbing down the stairs or just having a treadmill. Most of the people are working from home nowadays. So in the room also they can have a treadmill and take a 2 minutes break or dancing or skipping. Just 2 minutes is a very small break and that they found very encouraging results. They had a continuous glucose monitor. They found then they had the study involved. This was a study design involved healthy young adults continuously for 5 hours, and their sitting was interrupted with 2 minute brisk walks every 20 minutes. Either brisk walk or treadmill or skipping. Using advanced glucose monitoring, scientists tracked how sugar levels behaved in real time within fat tissue after carbohydrate rich meal. Fat tissue means the central fat and the gluteal fat. And of course, blood glucose levels also they monitored. So this is the diagrammatic here. They took both male, female, and participants were healthy young adults. And the top one is the prolonged sitting. That is a control arm. And the lower half is the intervention in the form of 2 minutes physical activity after every 20 minutes of sitting. So that they found the those who were sitting continuously without these breaks, they had, if you see the glucose levels in fat tissue also they tracked and advanced glucose monitoring in fat tissue in both the groups. So they found the gluteal, particularly women benefited more, particularly the gluteal fat. They had a buffer action on the blood sugar level. And the men also benefited, particularly those who had a tendency to central obesity. Women had a better over the gluteal fat, which acts as a voltage stabilizer to glucose fluctuation. And also the gluteal fat does not depend on insulin for utilizing the glucose from the blood. So it is not dependent on insulin, whereas the central fat, central obesity, it requires insulin for. And most importantly, if you see the graphs on the extreme right, you find the lower one is the green one is the people who had 2 minutes break after every 20 minutes. And the top graph is for those who continued sitting continuously. So there is a very good glucose control in those who did this 2 minutes breaks, who undertook 2 minutes break for some brisk walking or just climbing down the stairs. If you are in office, they can go and they go to the water cooler, climb down one stair, climb up one stair, come back to the office. 2 minutes is, and sometimes they may chit chat also, which gives, sometimes it gives you new ideas, creativity. I mean, it has got much collateral benefits also. Then it can also take care of your eye strain also. Dry eye syndrome is another problem, occupational group. So you take every 20 minutes, 2 minutes break, you walk, you see the distance, talk with people, come back. It will improve your brain activity also, some creativity. It will affect, interrupt the dry eye tendency. And of course, the results are seen in the graphs also. So this is a very simple thing which can be inculcated as a training, as a habit, and in the workplace, they can be monitored also. The employers can make this, nowadays you have got a lot of yoga classes or some music classes in the workplace. So this can be part of the employee benefit or employee welfare. And these are the findings. Even short walking breaks significantly improve glucose control, which we saw in the graph, lowering post-meal sugar levels in both fat regions, that the gluteal fat and the central fat. The effect was better in women, where gluteal fat acted almost like a buffer, stabilizing glucose levels during prolonged sitting. So in men, benefits were also observed, particularly in those with higher abdominal fat or early signs of insulin resistance. So men also, they benefited who had a pre-diabetic or early signs of insulin resistance. Fat stored around the hips, gluteal fat, appear to process glucose more steadily, while abdominal show sharper fluctuation, which are often linked to metabolic risk. And this is the mechanism that this is the continuous glucose monitor in gluteal and abdominal fats. And post-feeding 3 to 6 hours lunch, the top, that is the sedentary, the top part of the image is sedentary and the bottom part is the here. And post-feeding 3 to 6 hours, elevation of intestinal blood glucose does come down, but it is more, if you see lower down, elevation of intestinal blood glucose comes down faster in women and those who exercise. And elevation of intestinal blood glucose otherwise comes down. And higher reduction of glucose concentration, males with higher hepatic and cellular model in gluteal fat, they are not dependent on insulin to utilize the glucose. So that is a more stabilizing gluteal fat, and that's why women they benefited more because they have a, and men android fat had a more fluctuation. So this is the cellular level mechanism. Gluteal fat, higher ability to absorb glucose without relying heavily on insulin. And whereas abdominal fat depends more on insulin pathways to absorb glucose. So gluteal fat and abdominal fat, as you are aware, gluteal fat is protective. Abdominal fat is a sign of metabolic syndrome. And they did the crossover trial also. First, they randomly allocated two groups, and then the one group which had sedentary, they turned over to the 2 minutes activity, and the other group became sedentary. So it's something like to match for other confounders, like in a football match, you change sides after halftime so that it controls for other factors. So that it's a very neat study, small sample, but it's a neat study, and we can do it in our practice and see whether how it works out with the. So at a cellular level, gluteal fat soda higher absorb without relying heavily. In contrast, abdominal fat dependent more on insulin, which may explain association with metabolite type 2. Anyway, the paper is in the public domain. Those who are interested can see it. Takeaway is simple but powerful. Long hours sitting can disrupt how the body processes sugar, but even small burst of activity can counteract counteract these effects. Incorporating short walking breaks, especially after meals, may support better metabolic health. So I think this can be this type of health education about people who are in sedentary work can really be helpful, non-pharmacological also. So this is yeah, suppose people are working from home. So remind me every 20 minutes for 2 minutes. So this is a treadmill in the room only. So हर 20 मिनट में 2 मिनट का व्यायाम विराम ले. So this can in the office also we can have posters all over the above the desk, above the computer, so that there is a reminder. And this now we come to now people sitting for long hours feel hungry, they feel like snacking. So instead of unhealthy ultra processed foods, and they have different bars and protein bars and all that high pressure marketing, simple apples, nature's food. It has been found that chronic liver disease is characterized by progressive liver function abnormalities leading to impaired coagulation and detox. The chronic liver through various stages, as you may be aware, fat stagnation, steatosis, steatohepatitis, fibrosis, cirrhosis. This is chronic liver disease and non-alcoholic malignancy in the very late stages, of course, rare cases, but acute liver injury rapidly by factors such as drug induced. So liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver is very common. So they have found that apples can protect. So non-alcoholic fatty liver, and 1/3 of the people in the USA are having this. So I am very sure that if we do a survey, particularly of middle class people, we are adopting the American lifestyle with American food and American work culture and affluence. So I am sure we will be also having, particularly a middle class, this condition, excess lipid deposition, and all the pathology you know. This can repair microvascular or small fat droplets. Noted accumulation of occurs in the absence of significant inflammation or liver damage. So this may be a silent buildup of non-alcoholic fatty liver. So apple is increasingly recognized as a natural agent with possible it has anti-cancer capacities as well as it is protective against non-alcoholic fatty liver. Different apple, of course, apples, there are different varieties. Liver cancer, highly aggressive, we all know. Then, so it is the third most common cause of cancer-related mortality anyway, but more common, as I was saying, is non-alcoholic fatty liver. And apple has been found. I will just give the reference to the paper. So I just, at least this can translate into habit of eat. And of course, as we know, antioxidants, other things good for the gut, and specifically it has been found to have a liver protective effect. Now another exercise which can be done at the desk is the soleus push-ups, and there are other exercises with this paper, but I have chosen this which is easy to do. The soleus push-ups means you contract the calf muscles while sitting. You raise your heels, contract the calf muscles, and so this can also be inculcated as a habit. While sitting, working, you can do that. So it improves your glucose regulation, insulin sensitivity, and vascular function in population unable to engage in traditional weight-bearing aerobic exercise. So we can combine the 2-minute breaks, and while throughout the day we can do that. So integration into clinical practice could provide cost-effective tools for the prevention and management of type 2 diabetes also. And of course, those who are non-diabetic as a health promotion. These exercises should be evaluated in long-term studies. So there have been studies, so I'll give the reference to this paper also. And of course, lastly, the coffee and liver disease. It has been found that the Coffee is also very protective for to the liver, and you are aware that most of the people in IT and software, they are all as it is, they take coffee. But if they can take coffee without, say, black coffee, most of them do take black coffee without sugar, because sugar, then you are adding sugar which is not desirable, and milk. So the best benefits are there, best desirable. Otherwise, coffee. So coffee consumption associated with improvement in liver enzymes. So especially in individual with risk for liver disease, coffee intake more than 2 cups per day in patients with pre-existing liver disease has been shown to be associated with lower incidence of fibrosis and cirrhosis, lower hepatocellular carcinoma rates, as well as decreased mortality. So this more than 2 cups, maximum up to 6 cups, they say in 24 hours. So 4 cups, 2 to 6 cups, average 4 cups of coffee is protective. 2, 3 apples during the work hours, and 2 minutes. So everything is doable, but it's so simple that many times simple things are difficult to implement. But if some education campaigns in the workplace, and if particularly your patients who are coming to your clinic, if they can be shown the papers also, because now many people in IT, they search Dr. Google. So this is a peer-reviewed papers, index journals, so their reliability is there, and they can, that can motivate them with discussion with the physician. So these measures outlined are chosen to harmonize with the occupational challenges by the modern generation, including increasing pool of employees working from home. Even the Prime Minister said you work from home. So again, the sedentariness would increase. So in the home also, one can have some dancing also, 2 minutes, skipping, music, 2 minutes activity with music. So it can break the monotony also, and it's good for physical health also, mental health, physical health, eye health, and creativity also. Sometimes brain works when you are relaxing, like Archimedes. Soleus push-ups can be cultivated to become second nature. That's like breathing. So you have a second heart lower down. 2 minutes break for short bursts of physical activity every 20 minutes should be welcome to break the monotony, both mental, physical stress. Replacing unhealthy snacks with apples and coffee can improve metabolic health and protect from non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And these are in addition to overall lifestyle, avoidance of alcohol, avoidance of smoking, in place of that heavy snacking, which say even dry fruits can be used, apples can be used. So this is all I think. And these, of course, these important are the references. This is the first paper on this 2 minutes breaks after every 20 minutes. Adipose specific glucose, uninterrupted and interrupted prolonged sitting. This has been published in Nutrition and Diabetes 2026. I think last month only it got published, Nutrition and Diabetes, and the link is there. Then the other one is on the hepatoprotective effects of apples, and comprehensive review of bioactive compounds and molecular mechanisms. It's a review article, Phytotherapia 2025. So this is also a paper which is peer reviewed. And third is on the effects of soleus push-ups exercise on systematic immune inflammatory index and blood lipid profile. It improves lipid profile. It is published in Medicine 2025. So all these are fairly recent papers. And the last one is Coffee and Liver Disease, Journal of Clinical and Experimental Hepatology. This is a little old, 2016. So this also is going on for some time, about debate about the coffee and the liver, but a peer-reviewed paper shows some benefit. So of course, those who are taking coffee, I mean, those who are not drinking, it's not, but mostly they take coffee. So I think that's all. I can take some questions if there are any.
Sure, sir. So, thank you so much, sir, for answering all these queries from our participating doctors. And, sir, we have received few of the queries from participating.